Hey team, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance Services. Another great day in Tampa Bay here. Wanted to do a training this morning on professional selling skills and really understanding the process. So we did some training on this yesterday with our sales team, and I really wanted to add this to our training channel because I thought it would be a value for others out there. So here's what I want you to think about. Everyone wants to buy, no one wants to be sold. That's if we were to say the takeaway, that's the golden nugget out of this, right? Think of yourself, your own experiences in life, anything you bought, from a car to a home to an air conditioner to maybe some level of a big ticket item or even a smaller ticket item. Maybe back in the day when you were at a clothing store before you bought everything online. Think about what that was like. And when you've had a good experience with someone who is very professional and very skilled at their sales, and maybe think about a bad experience you've had. We all think of those classic movies where you see the bad car salesman, or yes, dare I say, the bad insurance person, and that's, you want to run from that. Those days are so long gone. People are so much smarter today. Not necessarily that they're smarter, but they have access to more information, right? You can go online and Google anything and learn things pretty quickly. So you really want to think about the process that you're walking people through and how you're helping them with it. So I like this PDF that we had and we've used in the past, and it's from a company called Achieve Global, so shout out to them. And it really just walks through, what does the selling process look like, right? Now, some of this stuff may be somewhat self-evident, and you may say, Doug, I understand that, or I'm already doing that. And I would say, if you are, great. What I would encourage you is to grow and get better in it, wherever you're at. So I've been doing this 18 years. I've owned the agency 14 years at this point, and this is helpful for me. And I've literally written and helped thousands of clients over the years. And so the more you think about this and can kind of understand it and then put it into practice in a way that's just second nature and people can sense that, it's really going to benefit you. So if we think about the process overall, we've got an open. They use this term here that I'm not a huge fan of, probe, right? For a variety of reasons. So I like the term fact finder or information gathering. And then this really goes to the heart of the client's needs. And then there's got to be a level of support and or follow-up, and then we go to a close. So I'm just going to take a few minutes. We're going to break each down. We're going to talk about it and talk about how you can create some wins in your sales process with this. So first off, the open. Think about this. You've heard before, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That is so true. And again, doing this a long time, I can tell you that on that first conversation that I have with a client, I pretty much know where this is going to where it's going to go, and likely whether I'm going to get the opportunity for the sale or not. The more you do, the more you'll understand that as well. What I would encourage you to think about in the open is, what does your presentation look like? And when I talk about presentation, think about your energy, your tone, your body language. Are you smiling? Do you sound like, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh? Are you talking so fast they can't even understand you? Are you using a lot of fillers? Fillers are things like, all of those things are going to degrade the conversation in the open. Are you friendly? Are you engaging with them? The thing I love about sales is you get to talk to a lot of people. If you enjoy people, it's a great business for you. Have fun with that. Be interested in them. Where are you from? What do you do for a career? What do you like to do on the weekends? You can weave those things in the open. And then it's also the opportunity to set the stage. We talked about a little bit yesterday at our formal team meeting about setting the table. I've heard that used as a great analogy for sales before. And again, I wanted the image that I shared with our team to think about is, picture when you maybe have gone to a really nice Thanksgiving dinner. Table's nicely set. You can even understand and sort of predict the courses that are going to come. Maybe the coffee cup's out for later in the dinner. Maybe there's a dessert tray already out, right? So on the sales level, you want to think about that. You want to think about setting the stage for the client. That's going to help them. In the back of their mind, at the very least, they're going to be thinking things like, who are you? Can I trust you? When am I going to hear from you? What is this going to look like? How much is it going to cost me? Right? Those are going to be almost giving questions every time. So you want to walk the client through. Mr. Client, here's what I'm going to do for you right now. We're going to do a market analysis. We're going to compare over 25 carriers. We're going to try and find you the best coverage and the best rates. You can expect to hear from me by tomorrow, the next day, the end of the week, whatever your time frame is. Rest assured, your shopping is done. I will take care of this for you. We want to be your trusted advisor, not just this year, but for the future. Again, something along those lines. You may not say it or do it exactly how I just did right there, but setting that stage is going to be very important. You know, one of our experienced commercial producers talked about that. And again, setting that expectation helps walk them through the process here. Then we get into the fact finder, and this is where we really have to understand a little bit more about the risk and the client. And when we say the risk, we're really talking, you know, the type of insurance that they're looking at. You know, now we use our fact finders here at Strategic, and if you're a part of some of the other things that we're doing, you may have access to these. And these fact finders are really just to help us gather info in a really clear and concise way. So we've got fact finders for really all types of insurance. I'm not going to do this in depth right now. I'm just highlighting that you want to think about what's the information you need to gather. Okay. So on the homeowners, on the auto, or on commercial, there are certainly lots of pieces of information you need to gather. The more you can understand, the better prepared you're going to be. Now, I also realize you may not have all that right there. You may not also be able to have this kind of conversation in depth with a client right away. Don't let that stop you. You always want to continue to make forward progress. And the nice thing in our industry, you can almost always do that because the information you can also pull offline. Whether that's going to property appraiser and pulling up property data, or whether that's using our CRM and pulling, you know, info on their vehicles. There's normally a lot of info you can still pull. Ideally, if you're on the phone with the client, or you're doing a Zoom with the client, or you're in person with the client, you can really get that info a little bit more in detail. Always a good opportunity, and it continues to build that relationship, right? Then we talk about that support phase. Now, the support phase I would encourage you to think is really a few things. On our team here at Strategic, I encourage our team to add in and talk about what we're going to do for them long term to help benefit them. So right on our main website, we have, actually the first tab is why choose Strategic Insurance. We've done other videos on this. We give clients 4 tangible things. We don't just say, hey, we're great, we give good service. That's pretty lame. We talk about annual protection reviews, being their insurance quarterback, having them as a client for life. We talk about our cutting edge technology to make their life easier, everything from texting into our main office number, live chat on our website, dedicated client portal, service center, electronic payments. We talk about our dedicated claims process, that we're going to be here for them and help them in the event of a claim. And then that one-stop shop. We do all lines of insurance. We can help them from T to green with whatever they need, right? Wherever you're at, whatever you look like in your sales career spot, you need to think about that. You need to think about the why you. I'm sure whatever you're selling out there, there are lots of other people doing the same thing, especially if you're in the insurance space, right? I mean, you literally have over 50,000 independent insurance agencies in the United States. And then when you add in companies like State Farm and Allstate and Farmers, you're close to 100,000 agencies. You add the average agency probably has 2 to 4 people. You've got 500,000 people, let's just say, just on the kind of retail side, right, talking about insurance with different people. That's a lot, right? So no lack of competition. You've really got to think about what's that why you. What's your, you may have heard the term before, your unique selling proposition. And I'd really encourage you guys to really understand that well and be able to present it in a way that you can share with a client quickly and effectively. So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is really follow-up. So follow-up is so key. You know, we talk about this quite a bit. Persistency pays results. You want to follow up. Now, we have some automatic systems in place if you're a part of our team, where we do some automatic email follow-up for you, just to kind of be your backstop, if you will. So as soon as someone's put in our CRM, there's some things that will start happening in the background. That will never replace you calling the client. That will never replace you texting the client. Look, I'm still actively engaged right now. Right before this call, I just sent a text. I mean, you can't see it here, but I just sent a text to a client following up on a commercial proposal that I presented, about a $25,000 commercial proposal. that you cannot replace. So do not get lazy and say, oh, well, the system's going to follow up for me. No. You're part of what you get paid for in sales and in this business is that that follow up and staying in front of that client. And so many people today are so busy. Most times they will tell you if they don't want to hear from you anymore, but we really want to continue to make sure we're having that follow up and those touch points. So those are two specific things on the support fund. Again, what are you going to do to explain them? How are you supporting them as a client long term? What does your system look like? What is your unique selling proposition? How can you communicate that quickly and effectively? And then what does your follow-up process look like? And again, I know there's a lot out there that have some dedicated CRMs or marketing follow-up tools. Those are great. I would just also encourage you, what other things are you using? Are you calendaring items? Are you suspending items in a CRM? Do you write them down? Do you have a to-do list? Again, on my little desk here, there's a couple to-do lists that just sit here in front of me. Like, that can be very effective too. We've talked to our team. Some of our team really loves to use whiteboards, where they have whiteboards. We also have an Excel pipeline tracking sheet. Whatever that is, you just want to think about how are you being consistent with that process. And then the last part is going and handling the close. And we talked yesterday in our team training that sometimes this can cause, especially newer people, some nervousness and hesitation. Like, you know, you're almost the dog that catches the car. It's like, okay, what do I do now? So really, if you set things up logically from the beginning, and really it goes back to the beginning in the open, and you start walking the client through the process and saying, hey, here's what's going to happen. And at the end, we'll get all of your information that we need to finalize your insurance, to get it over for your closing. It should be a natural part of the process. It can be as easy as, Mr. Jones, how would you like to get this set up? We can either take a credit card over the phone or a check over the phone, and we can put your insurance in force for you. Something as easy and simple as that. There's lots of trainings and things out there on closing. The thing I would just encourage you is that be clear, be concise, and ask. Don't be afraid. Don't be nervous. Practice if you are, and ask, right? Again, the client will tell you if they've got questions, objections, whatever's going on. Sometimes, and I know this may sound silly, but some people are just afraid to ask. They don't even, or they just assume the client's going to raise their hand and say, oh yeah, I want to do it. Now that will happen sometimes, don't get me wrong. I mean, you will definitely see that, but part of our industry being paid is that whole idea and that follow-up in that process. So again, really want to encourage you guys to just kind of think through this process. If you're really in professional sales, thinking about the opening, what does that look like? Your presentation, setting the table, setting those expectations, engaging them in conversation, perhaps explaining a little bit about you. Listen, I always believe humor and laughter opens people up. If you can make a joke and you can get somebody to laugh, great things can happen, right? Then we go into the fact finding, the information gathering. Be thinking about that and thinking about, okay, getting the information that I need to actually run the proposals or do whatever I need to do. And then also understanding what's important to the client. Understanding and asking questions like, other than price, which we know is important, tell me what else is most important to you. That's a question we've taught our team on from day one. I think whatever you're selling, that's always a great question. You really want to try and get to the heart. There's no industry out there that does not face the price objection. None. I don't care what you're selling. That's probably the largest objection in most people's buying process, period, whatever they're buying, right? Everybody thinks it's too expensive. So you want to try and understand that, take the air out of the balloon, and then move past that, finding out what true objections are outside of that. Then we talked about that support piece, and that support piece can be the value add that you're doing. What are you sharing with them that's different? That may be on the front end. That may be in a follow-up email where you shoot a video. That's one of the things we've done here is we'll shoot a video and talk about our process, our team, and how we're adding value to our clients, right? Pointing them to that website, giving them the video, walking them through that. And then at the end, all that should lead to the logical conclusion and the close. So anyway, I hope this added some value to you. We always appreciate you tuning in and checking out what we're doing here. And we always encourage you, dream big and make it happen. Take care. Have a great day. God bless.